Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Yogah karmasu kaushalam.
Elements of cost overheads part 2. Hello everyone, I am Dr. Chetna Marvadi, Assistant Professor, School of Commerce, Gujarat University. Today we are going to study overheads part 2. In the previous module we have studied about number 1 meaning of overheads, number 2 definitions of overhead given by expert, number 3 classification of overheads function wise, behavior wise and element wise. Number 4 accounting of overheads. Number 5 steps in distribution of overheads. Number 6 meaning of allocation and apportionment. Number 7 understanding about production and service department. Number 8 practical understanding on allocation. Number 9 practical understanding on primary apportionment. In this module we will study about number 1 reapportionment of cost of service department to production departments and its methods. Number 2 out of two methods, first method where overheads of service department are apportioned to production departments only. Number 3 there are two situations for apportionment of overhead. Number 1 when two service departments are given and number 2 when more than two service departments are given. Let's understand reapportionment of cost of service department, which is called secondary distribution. Once the overheads have been allocated and apportioned to production and service department and total, it is primary apportionment of overheads. And the next step is to reapportion the service department cost to production departments. This is necessary because our ultimate object is to charge overheads to cost unit and no cost unit pass through service departments. The cost of production is determined for decision making is not for service departments. Therefore, the cost of service departments must be charged to production departments. There are various methods for apportionment of service department overheads. These methods are apportionment of service department overheads are number 1 apportionment to production departments only, number 2 apportionment to production as well as service department, and here it is based on two bases. First is non-reciprocal base and second is reciprocal base. Under non-reciprocal base there are two methods, that is in case of two service departments and second in case of more than two service department. Under reciprocal method again there are two methods. First one is simultaneous equation method, second one is repeated distribution method. Let's understand apportionment to production departments only. From this diagram it can be observed that overhead cost of both the service departments are apportioned between production departments only. So, in this method the total amount of each service department is distributed to only production departments. We will understand this concept in illustration 1. It is essential to note that the distribution of common or joint overheads, scientific and appropriate base are required. Some of the important bases of apportionment of service department overheads are, suppose our first service department is purchase department, then base of apportionment can be value of materials purchased or number of orders placed. Suppose our service department is time office or personal department, here base of apportionment can be number of employees or wages paid or labor hours. Third, suppose our service department is canteen or labor welfare department, here base of apportionment can be number of employees or wages paid. Suppose our next service department is accounts office. Here base of apportionment can be number of employees or number of time cards handled. Next, suppose our next service department is laboratory department. Here base of apportionment can be testing laboratory hours or units of output. And suppose our service department is maintenance department. Here base of apportionment can be number of hours worked in each department. Let's understand this concept with the help of illustration. Illustration 1. The following data were obtained from the books of Power Engineering Company for the half year ended 30th September 2022. Prepare an overhead distribution summary. The information for production departments A, B and C and service department X and Y are given. Direct wages rupees 7,000, 6,000 and 5,000 for production departments A, B and C respectively, and rupees 1,000 and rupees 1,000 for service departments X and Y respectively. Direct materials given is for production department A rupees 3,000, production department B rupees 2,500, production department C rupees 2,000, service department X rupees 1,500, service department Y rupees 1,000. Number of employees are given for production departments A, B and C as 200, 150 and 150 respectively, whereas for service department number of employees for department X is 50 and for department Y it is again 50. Electricity is given in terms of kilowatts. For production department A it is 8,000, for B it is 6,000, for C it is again 6,000 and for service department X it is 2,000 and service department Y it is 3,000. Number of light points are given for production departments A, B and C as 10, 15 and 15 respectively, whereas for service department X and Y it is 5 number of points for each department. Asset value is given for production department A as rupees 50,000, for production department B as rupees 30,000, for production department C as rupees 20,000 and for service department X and Y it is given 10,000 each. Area occupied is given in terms of square yards. For production department A it is 800, for production department B it is 600, for production department C it is 600 and for service department X and Y it is 200 square yard each for both the department. The expenses for the last 6 months were stores overhead rupees 400, motive power rupees 1,500, electric lighting rupees 200, labor welfare rupees 3,000, depreciation rupees 6,000, repairs and maintenance rupees 1,200, general overheads rupees 10,000, rent and taxes rupees 600. Apportion the expenses of department X in the ratio of 4:3:3 and that of department Y in the proportion to direct wages to department A, B and C respectively. Now let's solve this problem. Here total 8 common overheads are given and that is for stores overhead rupees 400, to rent and taxes rupees 600 and total of all these overheads comes to rupees 27,400. For this distribution very relevant base will be selected and accordingly it will be distributed. First of all, these overheads are to be distributed amongst production departments and service department. In second stage, total overheads of each service department will be apportioned in given ratio. Total overheads of service departments are apportioned to production departments in proportion of benefits taken by respective production department from respective service department. It means department X and Y have provided services to production departments A, B and C service department. X has not provided services to Y department. and vice versa. Under this method, straightway overheads of service department are apportioned to production departments. No service department has taken any benefit from other service department, thus overheads of service departments are apportioned to production departments. Total overhead of department X will be shared between production departments A and B and C in the given proportion of 4:3:3. It means that A, B and C departments have taken benefit of department X in the proportion of 4:3:3. Total overheads of Y department will be shared between production departments A, B and C in given proportion of direct wages, where direct wages of A, B and C is rupees 7,000, rupees 6,000 and rupees 5,000 respectively. It means that A, B and C departments have taken benefit of Y department in proportion of 7:6:5. The final answer after distribution of overheads of service department to production department will be total of overheads of each production department, that will be overhead cost of each production department. Note that direct materials and direct labor of service departments are treated as part of overheads and will become part of the distribution. Direct material and direct labor of production departments are part of prime cost, that is direct cost, and it is not part of overheads. Now let us see summary of distribution in the form of overhead distribution summary. Here we are having 5 columns. First column is of item, second is base of apportionment, third is total rupees, fourth column is for production departments A, B and C, and fifth column for service departments X and Y. First item of expense given is wages, and here base of apportionment is direct as it is given. Total amount is rupees 2,000. As we have discussed that for production department it is the direct cost, so there is no need of allocation, but for service department direct wages are overheads and it is needed to be allocated. So service department X wages given is rupees 1,000 and Y it is also given 1,000. Next item is materials. Here also base of apportionment is direct given. Total amount is 2,500. Same for service department, direct material cost is overhead cost and it needed to be distributed. That's why for service department X amount is rupees 1,500 and for service department Y amount is rupees 1,000. Stores overhead, base of apportionment is material consumed, amount given is rupees 400. For production department A, B and C it comes to rupees 120, 100 and 80 respectively, whereas for service department X and Y it comes to rupees 60 and 40 respectively. Next item given is motive power, base of apportionment is kilowatts, total amount given is rupees 1,500 and for department A it is 480, for department B it is 360, again for department C it is 360 and for service department X it is rupees 120 and for Y it is rupees 180. Next expense given is lighting and it is to be allocated based on number of points. Total amount given is rupees 200. It is rupees 40, 60 and 60 for production departments A, B and C respectively, and it is rupees 20 for service departments X and Y each respectively. Next item of expense given is labor welfare expense and base of apportionment is number of employees. Total amount given is rupees 3,000. It is rupees 1,000 for production department A and rupees 750 each for production department B and C respectively. Again for service department it is rupees 250 each for service department X and Y respectively. Depreciation amount is to be allocated based on asset value. Total amount of depreciation given is rupees 6,000. For production department A, amount comes to rupees 2,500. For production department B, it is rupees 1,500. For production department C, it is rupees 1,000, and for service department X and Y, it is rupees 500 each respectively. Repairs and maintenance cost given total is rupees 1,200, and it is again to be allocated based on asset value. The amount for production department A comes to rupees 500, for department B it is rupees 300, for department C it is rupees 200, and for service department X and Y it is rupees 100 each respectively. General overheads is to be allocated based on wages paid. Total general overheads given are rupees 10,000. For production department A, allocation comes to rupees 3,500. For department B, allocation comes to rupees 3,000, and for department C, it comes to rupees 2,500, and it is rupees 500 each for service department X and Y. Next amount of expense given is rent and taxes. Amount given is rupees 600, and base of apportionment is area occupied. It is rupees 200 for production department A, 150 for production department B, and also 150 for production department C. It is rupees 50 each for service departments X and Y. Therefore, our total overhead is rupees 27,400, which is apportioned between production department and service department, and the total of production department A comes to rupees 8,340. For production department B, total overheads is 6,220. For production department C, total overheads is 5,100. For service department X, total overheads comes to rupees 4,100, and for service department Y, it is rupees 3,640. This is overhead distribution summary. Now let us see allocation of this service department's overheads to production departments. For allocation of service department overhead to production department also, we need to prepare 5-column table. In that, first column is of item, second one is basis of apportionment, third column is total rupees, fourth column is for production departments A, B and C, and fifth column for service department X and Y. Overhead of production department given total is rupees 27,400, that we have calculated as for production department A rupees 8,340, for B 6,220, for C 5,100, and for service department X it is rupees 4,100, and service department Y rupees 3,640. Now let us allocate first service department cost of rupees 4,100 to production department A, B and C in the given proportion of 4:3:3. So, the allocation of service department X overhead comes to production department A as rupees 1,640, for B it is rupees 1,230, and for C also it is 1,230, and therefore, there is nil cost for service department X. Now, let us allocate service department Y's total overhead cost of rupees 3,640 in the proportion of direct wages, that is 7:6:5. Allocation for department A comes to rupees 1,416, for B comes to rupees 1,213, and for C it comes to rupees 1,011. Therefore, the total overhead allocated is rupees 27,400, which are allocated to production department A as 11,396, for production department B 8,663, and production department C it is 7,341. Therefore, total overheads of production department which are given in the example 27,400, that is distributed from the service department to production department. Under this method of apportionment, overheads of service departments are apportioned between production departments. In brief, overheads of service departments will be transferred to respective production departments in the proportion of services taken by production department from service department, and then finally total production cost of each production department is determined. Now let's see second method of apportionment, that is apportionment to production as well as service department. Quite often a service department renders service not only to production department but also to other service department. For example, maintenance department looks after not only the plant and machinery of production department but also the equipment of other service departments like powerhouse, material handling, etc. Similarly, powerhouse supplies electricity not only to production departments but also to other service departments like canteen, maintenance department, etc. These type of inter-service department apportionment may be either on reciprocal basis or non-reciprocal basis. Let's understand number 1, non-reciprocal distribution, which is called step ladder method. In case of two service departments, this is done when various service departments are not interdependent. This means a service department provides its services to other service department but does not receive any services from that service department. In such a case, if there are two service departments, the cost of service department which renders services to other service department should be apportioned first. Then the cost of other service department will comprise of its own cost plus share allocated to it from the service department. For example, there are two service departments X and Y and two production departments A and B. X department provides its services to Y and to other production departments A and B. On the other hand, Y does not provide its services to X department but only to production departments A and B. This diagram explains that X is providing services to A and B production department and service department Y also. Y does not provide services to X department, its services are confined to production department A and B only. Thus, it is known as non-reciprocal distribution. Here, reciprocal and non-reciprocal terminology is used for service departments only. Let's understand one practical problem for this case. Illustration 2. Calculate the overheads applicable to production departments A and B. There are also two service departments X and Y. X service department renders services worth rupees 12,000 to Y service department and balance to production departments A and B as 3:2. Y renders services to production department A and B as 9:1. The following information is given for production department A and B and service department X and Y. Floor space in terms of square feet given: for A it is 5,000, for B it is 4,000, for X it is 1,000 and for Y it is 2,000. Assets in rupees lakhs given: for department A it is 10 lakhs, for department B it is 5 lakhs, for department X it is 3 lakhs, for department Y it is 1 lakh. Horsepower of machinery is given: for department A as 1000, for department B 500, for department X and Y it is 400 for department X and for department Y it is 100. Number of workers given: for department A as 100, for department B as 50, for department X as 50, for department Y as 25. Number of light points given: for department A is 50, for B it is 30 and for service department X and Y it is given 20 each. The expenses are given as depreciation rupees 1,90,000, rent and rates rupees 36,000, insurance rupees 15,200, power rupees 20,000, canteen expense rupees 10,800, electricity rupees 4,800. Therefore, total expenses or overheads given is rupees 2,76,800. Now, let us see the overhead distribution summary for this total amount of rupees 2,76,800. Let us prepare solution in terms of overhead distribution summary. Here again we will prepare 5 columns. First is of expenses, second is base for allocation, third is total overheads given, fourth is production department A and B, and fifth one for service department X and Y. Depreciation is to be allocated based on asset value. Total amount of depreciation given is rupees 1,90,000. Depreciation for production department A comes to rupees 1 lakh and for production department B comes to rupees 50,000, whereas the depreciation for service department X comes to rupees 30,000 and for service department Y it is rupees 10,000. Next item of expense is rent, rates and taxes. Base for allocation here is floor space. Amount given is rupees 36,000. The allocation for production department A comes to rupees 15,000 and for B it comes to rupees 12,000. For service department X it is rupees 3,000 and for service department Y it is rupees 6,000. Insurance is again allocated based on asset value. Amount given is rupees 15,200. For production department A it comes to rupees 8,000 and for production department B it comes to rupees 4,000. For service department X it is rupees 2,400 and for Y it is rupees 800. Power total amount given is rupees 20,000 and base is horsepower. It is for department A rupees 10,000, for B it is rupees 5,000, for service department X it is rupees 4,000 and for service department Y it is rupees 1,000. Next expense is canteen expenses, which is to be allocated based on number of workers. Total amount given is rupees 10,800. The allocation for department A comes to rupees 4,800, for B comes to rupees 2,400, for service department X it comes to rupees 2,400 and for Y it comes to rupees 1,200. Next expense given is electricity expense and it is to be allocated based on number of light points. Total amount is 4,800. For production department A it is rupees 2,000 and for B it is rupees 1,200. For service department X and Y it is rupees 800 each for respective service department. Therefore, the total overheads of rupees 2,76,800 is allocated to production department A as rupees 1,39,800, for production department B as rupees 74,600, for service department X as rupees 42,600 and service department Y it is rupees 19,800. So, this is primary distribution of overheads to production and service department. Now, let us have a look at apportionment of overheads of service department X and Y to production department A and